Hello and welcome to Almost 30 Podcast.
Hi, everybody. It's your girls, Lindsey and Krista.
Yep.
You have arrived in the Almost 30 world. We're happy you're here.
So glad you're here. It feels good to have you. If you're an OG, we love y'all so much. Thank you for being a part of our lives in the community over the years. We have such a thriving community all over the world of Almost 30 Nation. And if you're new, we're so grateful to the person that showed you Almost 30. We are excited about the episode you're about to listen to today. We have solo episodes with just Lindsey and I, where we go deep on our life and our journey. We get really raw and authentic. We have our conversations that we have together as best friends. Some are funny, some are deep. We try and keep it real as much as possible. And then we have really amazing interviews with experts in the world and in the field. And today is a conversation between Lindsey and I, which is some of my favorite ones to have.
Yeah, K&L solos, baby. I wanted to talk about this concept that I was recently introduced to through a book that a friend of Sean and I had given us. They're a married couple and they had read this and they shared it with us. It's called the 80-80 marriage, a new model for a happier, stronger relationship. And I love doing a little book club moment with Sean. Just it's like a nice touch point. So if you're in a relationship, I feel like that's a nice soft way to start conversations around things that are important to you, that you might want to talk more about, dive deeper into. And this concept of the 80-80 marriage was one that I felt like I have innately within me, parts of it, but sometimes to a fault. So it was really interesting to read kind of the healthy and sustainable version of this. But what they introduce in the book first is kind of where we've been before this 80-80 concept, which is there is a type of relationship, and most likely we would see this, I don't know, in the 50s, let's say, where it's an 80-20 relationship. It's very, very much like deference and control within the relationship. It's very gender role structured. There's this belief or mindset that this is not my job. So it's very like, not you against them, but there's a control aspect to the 80-20. And then there's, I think, in more recent years, and perhaps what some of our listeners might be in right now in their relationships, which is this idea of 50-50. And I think this came about with like girl boss era, at least like from my perception, it's like, or perspective, it's like we want to be able to contribute equally. We are just as successful. I know.
Good on all that.
I know. We are just as successful. Or the men like perceive that we are more successful. So they're like, we want you to contribute equally, whether that's monetarily, which is kind of more how we perceive that. Or
I'm contributing psychically.
Psychically.
My intuitive gifts is my contribution.
But what that creates is this belief or mindset of fairness. So it comes up constantly within the 50-50 relationship. Well, that's not fair. You did this, or you were able to do, you were able to have time to yourself. Like, where's my time to myself? And it's very like tit for tat, I win, you lose type of vibe.
So immature.
Yes.
And I think we've all been in that.
Yes. And the structure is like the structure of the relationship is like role confusion. You're constantly kind of flopping and not understanding the value of the other partner. It's always like you, and how can I get mine?
Yes. All of our parents probably.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I guess what was your experience with like your parents? What would you say?
You know, my perception, let's see what my perception was. You know, it's so interesting because whenever you look back at your childhood, you have your perception now as an adult. You have your perception as a teenager. You have your perception as a child. You have your metabolized perception of what your parents say happened. You know, so I'm thinking
what was
of
real?
Literally. I'm thinking of 5 different perceptions, and I'm like, which part of my life do I want to take the perception from? But I would say my mom did more things. So she was probably 80 and my dad was 20.
Okay.
I think it was of the generation that if men provide more money monetarily, that the women need to make up for the rest.
Yes.
And then that becomes everything under the sun except for the financial.
Yep. the children, the house.
Yep.
You know, what they do day to day.
The friendship relationships, the health of the actual relationship.
Yes.
Like,
yes, exactly.
it becomes so much weight for the woman who are multidimensional multitaskers and can take on a lot, but then that just becomes something that builds and gets bigger and bigger, where it just becomes too much of a load, especially now that women are also working and making more financially in a lot of cases. I think there was data that just said that women surpassed men in earning now. And then women are also taking on side hustles. They also want to find their purpose. They also want to find their passion. So in addition to the family, their relationship, the home, the job, the purpose, it's like it's just becoming this living organism.
And not as much value is being placed on that 80%. 100%. So it's like, well, the man in the relationship is bringing in a ton of money, and that's what keeps this system running. And I think that's, you know, what I kind of saw growing up, where it's like, the emphasis was there, the sacrifice, the time, the energy to bring the money that makes everything possible.
Yeah.
But what was being discounted in that relationship was how much my mother was bringing, you know, to your point, energetically, like literally running the household in a way that was very heart-centered.
In that structure, it's still, you know, I think about this with feminism. It's like, capitalism is still the thing that's like causing the men to live outside of their comfort. Like, a man wants to love his job and bring home money, but we're still working from a system that believes that money is the best thing, that money is the most important thing. Because if you're making the most money, then you have the most value in the household.
Yes.
And then the value of the love, the care, the attention, the nurturance of the feminine or the mother is not as valued because it's not monetarily bred or focused. And so I think when we're thinking about shifting paradigms, it's like, how can we move from having monetary gain or anything related to like capitalistic ventures be seen as valuable, if not more valuable?
Yeah. Yeah. Sean and I have been having a lot of conversations about this, because I haven't quite turned the corner on not feeling a type of way about not contributing as much as I would like monetarily. And he reminds me over and over, he's like, first of all, you're the mother to our child. Like, what you are doing on a day-to-day basis is above and beyond what is like appreciated and required of you, you know? And I think because what I saw growing up, I know my dad appreciated my mom, but yeah, there was just not as much outward appreciation of that contribution. So I'm just like reprogramming that slowly but surely. But also, and he'll say this to other people when I'm around, which helps me just kind of cement it in my mind, but thinking of us as a team. So his success is not just based on what he does at work. It's how we support one another that makes it possible for him to be successful at work. And I really believe that now. Like, I understand that deeply and what it requires of me. I'm like, it's part of me that I love supporting him in whatever way, but I understand now that that's part of the success. That's part of what we're bringing to the family. It's not just him. It's both of us.
I am the oracle. I am at home giving you all the guidance, the wisdom. There's this really good book called Enter Her Vortex.
Love that title.
It's really short and easy to read. It's called Enter Her Vortex by Malik, and I forget the last name, but it's by an author named Malik. And he's a really powerful writer. And he says that women are the multiplier. So we are the multiplier of the men's success. We are like the fertile ground for their success. Like, when a masculine man is in a relationship with a woman, like, that really provides and is safe enough in her feminine, and like, she's taken care of, she will multiply your blessing. She will multiply your earnings. And I believe that to be so deeply true. Like, because we can bring out the best in a man, we can help them see, we can help nurture them, we can help them stay grounded. Like, there's so much that we can do when we have the foundation of the comfort. But I think for you too, it's like, or not for you too, what you said just reminded me. What also you're reprogramming is the safety of being like, okay. Because I think for so long, women are like, we have to kind of earn our money to be safe. Like, you can't ever really relax into that, because what if something happens? Like, this is culturally, it's society to be like, you need to have your own money. My mom told me when I was literally a child, was like, you always need to have your own money.
Yes.
Always. You're never just allowed to be taken care of by anyone. And so I think that's another thing too, where you're like, is it safe to like not have my own money? Because that's that's when you're vulnerable. From our perception, as if you're not earning.
Yeah. And you trust in one another to take care.
Yes.
And not abandon if we have those issues coming up. Yeah, it's definitely, my dad said that over and over, like, you got to be independent. You got to earn and become successful on your own first. And I think for me, that wasn't natural to me. That wasn't natural to be that like girl boss and kind of push away any support. But like, I took that on because my dad scared me into it. But I remember before we got married, like 6 months before we got married, a former friend said to me, you're getting a prenup, aren't you? And nothing wrong with prenups.
Oh, everyone asked me that too. They still to this day, like, did you get a prenup?
But it's such a weird...
I'm flattered.
Yeah, thank you.
Literally. I'm like, you're right. I should think about it.
But it's so...
I'm like, how are we going to divide the estate?
It's such a weird thing for other people to ask and or like project
100%.
onto you, because you're like...
None ya biz.
It's none of your biz.
None ya biz.
And it's also like a feeling where I'm like, if I felt... This is just my perspective. If I felt like I needed a prenup, first of all, I would get one. And second of all, there would be like kind of weird layers to my relationship that I don't know if I'm the type of person to be in a relationship like that.
Totally.
Is that weird?
Tony Robbins in his first marriage had a prenup.
Yeah.
And in his second marriage to Sage, he does not have a prenup. And he says that if you have a prenup, you always have an out.
Exactly.
I will probably have a prenup in my next marriage though.
Yeah. There's nothing
requested by them.
Yeah.
Literally their request prenup. And I will sign happily. And I will say, I'll take what I can get.
I am a new busy mom, and it's really important that I stick to somewhat of a routine. One thing that has not changed through it all has been taking AG1 every single morning. I even take it before my coffee. This really starts off my day on the right foot, and it honestly, it's like a trickle-down effect. I start to make like healthy choice after healthy choice after healthy choice. I have been taking AG1 for years. And they've been a supporter of the show for a long time. So I'm just really happy to bring them to you. AG1 is constantly testing their product, and it's backed by multiple research studies and trusted by experts and medical professionals. So they do a lot of research, so I don't have to, and you don't have to. It also tastes really good. Basically, all you have to do is put 1 scoop of AG1 in a glass of water. Maybe you put it in a smoothie, and just drink it on down. It's so easy. It's yummy. And as a new mom, I am always looking for more energy in my day. I mean, who isn't? But drinking coffee sometimes gave me that like slump in the afternoon. And so AG1 really gives me this like sustained energy. I really feel ready to take on the day. It's also great for digestion. It's really great to fill in those nutritional gaps. So if there's one product I trust to support my whole body health, it's AG1, and that's why we've partnered with them for so long. So starting on your journey with AG1 is a win. I support you. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2. You need that. And 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/almost30. That's drinkag1.com/almost30. Check it out. Okay, y'all, we need some iconic styles for summer, ones that you are going to wear over and over and for years to come. And I have the brand for you. It's called Jenni Kayne. And if you haven't heard of them, I'm excited for you. These pieces in my closet from Jenni Kayne are ones I'm going to have forever. The quality is spectacular. The styling is classic and iconic, and I'm obsessed. Okay, I want to share with you what I've gotten recently for summer, baby. Because your girl's no longer just like getting things willy freaking nilly. I want to make sure that my clothes are ones I'm going to have for a long time. So I just got the Cove dress. It is just so comfy. This is one I can just wear out. I can dress up. I can dress down. It is easy, easy peasy. The Cove dress. It's like a put together look that you can just throw on. Super easy. It's linen and cotton. And I got the natural navy stripe. So cute. Okay. Next up, I really love a poplin shirt. And they have a poplin shirt dress that I'll either wear with pants or I'll just wear like basically to the beach, like on its own with a bathing suit. It's amazing. It's something that like is so versatile. I basically get a bunch of outfits in one. It's a relaxed fit. It's very elevated. You'll love it. It's the poplin shirt dress from Jenny Kane. And let me just say that Jenny Kane has clothes. They have jackets, dresses, loungewear, all the things. They also have shoes. They have jewelry, accessories, and they have home essentials that are to die for. So you're going to have a blast shopping on Jenny Kane. This is just an effortless California brand that just knows how to do it. And if you're looking for your new uniform, some summer essentials, find it at jennykane.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use the code almost30 at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at jennykayne.com. Promo code is almost30. Let getting dressed be one less thing you have to worry about. Embrace your summer aesthetic with Jenny Kane. There's a acquaintance of mine from college. She recently got married and, girls gossip. And through the grapevine, I've kind of heard about the prenup thing happening with her and her now husband because he is
I know who
very,
this is.
very wealthy. And basically, high level, the prenup is just like, you get nothing. If I cheat on you, you get nothing. If you leave me, you get nothing. And if I die, you get this amount, which is nothing compared to what he has. And you have to keep working throughout, even when we have a child.
Oh, that's not a prenup. That's a prison.
Yeah.
Wait, that's insane.
The lawyers that were on this person's side were like...
Harvey Weinstein's.
No. The lawyers that were on my acquaintance's side were like, this is the most disgusting prenup we've ever seen. Like the amount of control we've never seen it. They're like, you should not go through with this. Crazy, right?
Did she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I think she's just thinking about the lifestyle now. She's not thinking too far off. And she's successful on her own, quote unquote, right? But like, if I'm her, I want to like have a child and like lean into that aspect of my life and be able to chill and not have to work.
100%. What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, that's insane.
And you will not know who this is. Don't try to.
Yeah, no, you guys would never know.
You would never know.
Last thing about the prenup. The one thing that I learned about prenups that made a lot of sense to me was that the reason why a lot of people have them is that they have multiple enterprises and businesses. And when you enter into a marriage on a lot of different states, you get access to 50%.
Yeah.
Like California's 50-50. So right now, if I got divorced and didn't have a prenup, my husband would have access to 50% of almost 30, 50% of all my businesses. So there is like a legality aspect when you're an entrepreneur.
The higher, if you're getting paid more, is that the case? Or is it both of you? Do you have 50-50 of his?
I think it's 50-50 access to both, but I'm not sure. I don't know if it's a higher earning thing.
Okay.
That might be actually something to look up. But yeah, it does make a lot of sense from like the business enterprise, because you could also like take over the business.
Sure.
With 50% ownership, you could have board seats. But yeah, you don't want something that's like going to make you work all the time.
Yeah.
Like, or make you work. You don't want to go to a prenup like the one you described, which is what I wanted to say.
I think like a prenup should protect both.
Yes.
So it's like if the one person cheats and leaves, the other person should be taken care of to a certain extent.
I think it should protect the mother.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, honestly. Because when you're a mother.
Because then you're protecting your child.
Exactly. You are vulnerable.
Yeah.
You are not able to work.
Yeah.
You need to take care of yourself. You're taking care of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and maybe that's wrong to think. I don't know. We should protect everybody, but there is a vulnerability that women naturally have.
Yeah, I agree.
In the relationship.
I definitely agree. Okay. So do what you want with the prenups, but the 80-80 belief though. So basically the mindset is when you win, I win.
Yep. So it's moving beyond 50-50. So right now relationships are based on and justified. And let me just summarize to make sure I understand. With the belief that you're supposed to go 50-50. I'm supposed to go 50, you're supposed to go 50. But when you're going 80-80, you're both choosing to go above and beyond what is required in a way that like can both sustain and support the relationship.
Yes. They call it radical generosity. So it's in those moments, it's like, how can I be of support? How can I be helpful? And to your point, go above and beyond.
Wow.
And there's no strings attached. There's no tit for tat. It's true partnership when you're really like moving together. It's not like the one person's moving and you're just like over here like, okay, yeah, keep going. I'll be right here. It's like you move together, whether it's in the successes, in the trials and tribulations, like you are in true partnership.
Because I think another point that I was listening to an interview with them, and you know more about this, but I thought it was interesting was that we have the perception because we're in our own experience that we're always doing more. So because, you're home all day, you're like, I put the dishes away. I did the laundry. I sweeped up. I was with the baby. I was doing, and then it's like,
I cleaned the chimney.
Yeah. And then it's like, you have the perception that no matter what, you're always doing more, even though he's talked to the lawyers, he talked to the finance people, he was out, you know what I mean? Like they're having their own experience of what, and oftentimes people are doing things without like getting credit for them. So you don't really know. So it's what's powerful about the 80-80 is that you're kind of going above and beyond just being like, I'm not going to do the laundry because he's not doing it or something like that. You're just being like, I'm going to choose to be at the 80 because it's sustaining and healthy for our relationship because we both have an understanding that what we're doing is more if we're working from the tick for tat mentality.
They talk about the how of contribution where it's like, how are you contributing?
Yeah.
What is the why behind it? What's the intention behind it? What's the energy behind it? Because if you're just doing it to say that you did more,
oh my gosh,
that is going to pollute the water between you.
Yes.
You need to, if you are going to do the laundry, literally you have to check the thoughts that go through your mind, because to have the intention of, I want to do my husband's laundry because he's been working nonstop this week. I want him to have like a fresh, clean fit for Friday so that he feels good and confident. Like that intention is felt even if you don't say it out loud. And more importantly, it affects you. Mm-hmm. So when you're doing the thing, holding that intention, you're not holding resentment. Mm-hmm. You're not holding, I did more this week, whatever that means. Like it is actually affecting your own experience, which makes you happier to be generous.
Yes. I think that's what's huge about it is like the energetics of things. Because a lot of times what women will do, and I saw this so much growing up, was doing things with the perception of being rewarded or being, seen as good. Or like, I remember like when we were younger, and God bless my mom, God bless. But she would do stuff and she'd be like, well, I did this. And we'd be like, we don't care if you did that, but you're doing it with the intention of being seen, of being accepted or being heard. And women can do that so much. I remember doing that in relationships, being like, I'm going to make dinner reservations for Friday because this man is not fucking making dinner reservations. Mm-hmm. And so when we're at dinner, I'm going to say, oh, how's dinner? Like I made this reservation. Yeah. You're not making reservations. I remember a period in time in my relationships, one of my relationships, going above and be other fucking on, just going so far above and beyond to prove a point. Not because it was out of the true intention of my heart of being kind, but it was like, this is how you should treat me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do everything.
Rather than just being direct and clear of like, hey, listen, I would love if you planned Friday night dinner.
Yes. I mean, at that point I was
of course.
Trying every single thing under the sun. And I was like, I'm going to try it by example, but the energetics behind it was still of proving something. So the energetics of everything, especially the generosity thing, and finding a true joy in being generous, I think is huge.
Yeah. And I think a question that people might have is like, okay, but how can I be generous or find out what will work with my partner? So sometimes like there are certain acts of love and generosity that don't vibe with some people. Yeah. So you can start with the love languages, which I think everyone is pretty familiar with. So understanding your partner's love language can kind of help you map out like where you're going to start with that radical generosity. So if your partner is someone who loves acts of service, it's like maybe you're ordering them like this book that you know they've been talking about, or maybe like you know that they would be interested in, and like you do a little something around that. Like just these acts that make them feel loved. I think the thoughtfulness, it doesn't have to be a fucking like $800 watch.
Yes, it doesn't have to be monetary.
No, it does not have to be that type of above and beyond. It's more so the love, thought, and intention around it.
Yeah, there was this example that the authors gave of this woman that loved to knit. She like loved knitting, and she had this like yarn ball that she could never get undone. And the husband spent like 45 minutes and like got all the yarn sorted and got it out of the ball. So it was something that was like something she enjoys, something that's specific to her, something that only involves her, something that like gives him no benefit himself. But the thought around it was like so intentional. And we've all, I hope, received a gift or had an experience where someone did something truthfully just out of their own generosity without getting anything in return. And that hits so different than when someone's doing something to be accepted or loved, or so that they're putting it in the bank so that you also do that for them. Like, I think we do that a lot. I could say that I'm moving more towards a place, and I'm not perfect, of doing it more often from the overflow of my love and generosity. But there's definitely been many moments where I've done it to have like a point or be seen as good.
Sean had to like come to a place where he trusted my generosity was like
pure,
good intentioned. And and I've always been someone with that type of generosity to a fault. To a fault. So I would be with people that wouldn't appreciate it, and it was kind of toxic. But he would be like, okay, like, why are you doing this? Or like, I think he had his own thing with that based on his past relationships. So it's really nice now to know that, I never feel, besides the money thing that I'm working through, like I never feel that, well, he did that for me, I should probably do something nice for him.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of mental weight that like you don't need to carry. It's almost like that constant flow. It's the giving and the receiving are the same. Yep. Constantly going back and forth. So when I'm giving to him, it's actually really like feeding my soul, you know, and back and forth. So, I
guess my question for you then is, as someone that's, because I think a lot of people listening are overgivers. There are overdoers. A lot of the women in our community are overfunctioning.
Yes.
They are running multiple businesses, managing their relationships, doing all the things in their romantic relationship as well, scheduling the dinners, scheduling the friend outings, pushing the relationship forward from an emotional perspective. So how do we be 80-80 with men that aren't, I don't know if that's the answer, but it's like, as an overgiver, how do you manage this?
Yeah.
To ensure you're not continuing to overgive and overfunction.
Well, I think oftentimes when we're overgiving, we really have to check the intention.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that you're overgiving because you want to prove that you're amazing, or maybe it is, but like you have to check, why are you really giving in this moment? Are you overcompensating what you feel like you're not giving in other ways? Or are you trying to butter them up? Or are you trying to make up for something that you think you've done and can't heal or resolve with them? We just have to really check, because I was overgiving for a while because in dating especially, I wanted to convince the person that I was worthy of being in a relationship with them and that I'm amazing and that I will always do this and I'm the best. And what I was forgetting, and why that intention really didn't work to call in someone who was like for me, was because I was forgetting that I was already like worthy to be in a relationship, and I should be checking in with myself. Do I even like this person? Like I was forgetting all of that.
This episode is brought to you by Lola V. This is an award-winning hair care line founded by the fabulous, the so cool Jennifer Aniston. You know, her hair, like the most iconic hair of all time. It needs no introduction. So she got tired of the same old struggle that we all face, choosing between hair products. Honestly, like I had a cabinet of hair products. Like my husband was like, "Oh, is this normal?" I'm like, "No, it's not," because I just haven't found the products that I love. But that has ended. I found Lola V and I'm just so happy. If you're like me, you might put your hair through the ringer over time, coloring, heat styling, stress, aging, the list goes on. It can take a toll, but it's really crucial to have the products that not only repair the look of the damage, but also shield your locks from future harm. So enter some of my favorites. The cult classic glossing detangler has saved me because I don't know why. My hair is long now. I'm a new mom. I sometimes wear hats and my hair gets so tangled. So I spray this on after I wash my hair. Oh my God. It is the best. It works like magic. Like people are obsessed with it and I get it. I also use the perfecting leave-in conditioner and this is great. It just leaves my hair really smooth, strong, just beautiful, and healthy looking. That's what I'm after. Healthy looking hair. So they're not just styling products, they're like your hair's best friend. This is going to support the health of your hair. Okay, unlock Jennifer Aniston approved hair at lolav.com. As our loyal listeners, you'll get an exclusive 15% off your entire order when you use the code A30POD at checkout. That's 15% off your order at LOLAVIE.com with promo code A30POD. Please note you can only use promo code per order and discounts can't be combined. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and it would be amazing if you could support our show and tell them that we sent you. Your hair will thank you. Again, the code is A30POD. Okay, as I am recording this, because I'm in my home, I do these at home. I am cooking dinner on the stove. I'm looking at it right now, and my dinner is cooking in my gorgeous Our Place cookware, and I'm so excited. Our Place is sponsoring this episode. It's kind of a dream come true, to be honest, because I've been a fan for years. I have literally collected so many pieces of cookware from Our Place. I have tons of always pans. I have 3 of them. I have different colors. Y'all, the colors just make me happy. Okay. The always pan is a staple. I would highly recommend. This is great for large family dinners, batch cooking. You can saute, fry, roast, boil, bake, braise, sear. I mean, you can do it all. And what's great, it has thermokind. This is technology exclusive to Our Place. It's their most advanced 50% longer lasting ceramic nonstick coating made without potentially toxic materials like PFAS, which is really important, lead and cadmium. So you're safe there. And the colors, I gotta say, are just so darling. I have the sage. I am eyeing the lavender. I also have the steam color and the char. And most recently, I got, yes, the cast iron trio. I'm so excited. I saw that they came out with cast iron cookware. I have been eyeing cast iron. I'm like, "Ugh, who's going to do it right?" And they did it. And I'm so excited. It's the cast iron trio, 3 pieces of premium cast iron cookware. You're going to love it. This makes a great gift as well. They have kitchen tools, tableware, appliances, you name it. They have it. I'm just so excited to have them as a sponsor. If you don't believe me, there's over 75,000 5-star reviews on their award-winning products. They've been mentioned in New York Times, Bon Appetit, and more. So check it out. They're awesome. FromOurPlace.com. Go to FromOurPlace.com and enter our code almost30 at checkout to receive 10% off site-wide. That's FromOurPlace.com, code almost30. Our Place offers a 100-day trial with free shipping and returns.
So checking in with your intention and also like at the same time, like loving that part of you. Like that is such a beautiful part to be someone who is so giving. It's not inherently a bad thing. I just think that sometimes in a dynamic, it can be a little toxic on either end. And then, I mean, I think even though sometimes it's a little uncomfortable, it's really about having a conversation with your partner where, you know, whether it is about the love languages and you're able to more clearly communicate, like, you know, hey, when you planned that dinner last month, I forgot to tell you like how much I loved that. Like, it was so meaningful to me. Like, I just felt so special. Like, you really just did it up, and I loved it. I think validating those moments where they do put in effort, and it's almost like a puppy dog, and you're just like, you did a really good job. More of that, please.
Yes.
And if they haven't done it at all, then it's a conversation where it's like, I want to understand more about what's important to you. And I would love to share like what's important to me as far as, acts of service, love, kindness. And it can feel a little clunky, I think, when you're first talking about this. It can be very like, what did the book say type of vibe. But eventually, these types of conversations will become commonplace in your relationship. It won't be as awkward. You'll be able to talk about this over dinner and feel so loved, seen, and validated. So you just kind of have to get through those crunchy, awkward first moments of talking about something like this. But start the conversation. I think this book is a great place to start, because I think the last thing that I'll say is, no matter which partner it is, no one's a mind reader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
So it's like you can hope that they just know intuitively and will do it, but everyone's got to start somewhere.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And people are faster learners than you think, especially when the reward is love and connection.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in the end, it's like we all want the same things, but I think when you're not clear about it or speaking to it or able to express it, and I think this is something that Victoria said the other day when we were talking about our event in London. She's like, most men don't need more tools, they need more vowels. She's like, they need to be able to have more language to speak how they're feeling, what their emotions are. And I remember one time in a relationship in couples therapy, and we had to get the face wheel out of like, how are you feeling? And then the face wheel is like a psychotherapy thing where you basically look at different faces and identify what your emotions are. And for a lot of men, they can't really identify how they're feeling emotionally. So if you can't, then you can't really express your needs.
Totally.
But I liked what you said too about how within this book or in relationships, you want to be able to clearly understand like what you're contributing, what they're contributing, and how you're gonna navigate the dynamic together through communication.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so key. And it's not, I think I was so tripped up on whatever I was saying, needing for it to be perfect.
Yeah.
Because often when I'm talking about things like that, I get emotional. Like it would make me want to cry, even though I'm not sad.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, whoa, I'm tapping into something that's really meaningful to me. And so if you're out there and you're like, me too, I get emotional when I talk about like these types of things with my partner, it is totally okay. And my hope is that you have a partner that can, to an extent, hold it in the moment.
Yeah.
But I think part of the way that they can hold it is if you are able to be in your body and express it. Because I think sometimes your way of expressing it can dysregulate the other. Not that that's a bad thing, but we want to be able to be fully in our experience so that we're not hiding or holding back, which distorts how they're perceiving things, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, that makes so much sense. What have you done in your relationship? Like, what are some things that you've done or added based on this book?
Yeah, I think I've just become much more attuned to how Sean is feeling. So he can talk a lot about what's happening in his life, whether it's at work or whatever, between friends or family. But I think I'm able to connect with him and then provide support in a way that's actually supportive when I know how it's affecting him emotionally. Is he drained? Is he tired? Is he frustrated? Is he like really confused and upset by something? And so that might mean if he is emotionally drained, I know that for him, like being able to have his alone time to recalibrate is so important. So I'll say like, I'm going to take Mavi for a long walk. Like, why don't you like chill at home, do your thing? Or like, do you want to go on a run? Like do your thing. Just kind of pulling the responsibilities off of him for a period of time and being able to take those on myself. Hey, I would like, I'm going to cook dinner for us. Why don't this afternoon, like you go up on the roof, like you read, I'm going to cook dinner. If that's kind of what I'm picking up on in terms of like his emotional needs, like how can I kind of physically also support the recalibration of that?
Yeah.
And then also, I think for us, it's just been really important to like speak out loud the effects of the generosity. So it's like, if he goes above and beyond, I want him to know that I appreciate it. And it's not from a place of like performing. It's just like, at the end of the day, I'm like, babe, I really appreciated that you did all the dishes and folded all the laundry. Like that was that really helped me because I was thinking about that and now I don't have to. And so it's not to just be like, yeah, you did a good job. It's more so like, I want you to know that it meant something to me, even though it's something little.
Yes.
And maybe you just did it to do it, but like it really meant more than probably you think. And I want you to know that.
In the book, they talk about making sure to appreciate the banal, the boring, the obvious, like, oh, you got me coffee or you poured me a cup and that also just from an energetic perspective, building that momentum around appreciation and generosity and speaking to it can help you build in bigger places in your life. But when you're in a long-term relationship, it mostly is those moments. It's not always the vacation that you're like, I'm appreciative. You got me this 5-star vacation.
Yes.
That happens once a year.
Yes.
It's like, what is like the small things? Like, I really appreciated that you opened my door for me when we went to dinner. I really appreciated that you made that reservation. Like, and it sets the tone for greater appreciation to be reciprocated. And in the book too, I think it talks about something. So for anyone that feels reluctant in the relationship to do the 80-80 because they feel like their partner won't meet them, it's like one person has to go first in shifting the paradigm in relationship. One of you has to make a change or shift out of 50-50. And oftentimes women are the leaders of the emotional temperature and the emotional progress of a relationship. So oftentimes it has to be the women that go forward in that way. But I also really love the idea of doing the book club like you talked about.
Okay, if you listen to this episode, you've most likely heard about human design, but have you looked up what your human design is, and have you read about it, and have you become obsessed with it and realized that these aspects of who you are what you can lean into and leverage as your superpowers in this lifetime? If you have, or if you haven't, please keep listening because I have an incredible, incredible opportunity for you. We are partnering with Human Design Blueprint. Our friend Erin Claire Jones, the founder, was recently on the podcast. Check that episode out. We are partnering with Human Design Blueprint because we want you to get your personalized chart with an almost 30 flare. It is 55 pages all about your unique human design, delivered as a downloadable PDF in 7 days or less. This is custom made to order, and it's all just for $95. Plus, you'll get 10% off with our code. Stay tuned for that. But if you're not familiar with human design, let me tell you, I have learned so many things about myself, and it has helped me in my relationships, in my career, in my creativity, and now as a mother. I have learned how to best make decisions, how I create aligned opportunities, how I am uniquely designed to lead and operate, how I best process things. I was going into a part of my chart the other day. It's a channel, it's called Clarity, and I am meant to wait for clarity. And it's not always, an instantaneous thing. Sometimes it's a sleep on it type of thing. Sometimes it takes quite a lot of time. It is kind of an unknown, uncomfortable process for me at times, but I do know that it is coming. And it's really helped me in my relationship with Sean because sometimes he wants to know an answer like in the moment. And I'm like, babe, I need space and I need time. I know it will become clear, but we need to give me that. And it's just been so, so helpful for us. Also, part of my chart tells me I am designed to experience the full range of my emotions, baby. It's going to be up and down. I have to ride the emotional waves. I have to trust that my emotions are always moving. And I may not always know why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, but I'm meant to take my time feeling them, and I'm meant to take my time with decisions. So it's just been insanely helpful. Now, when you get your blueprint, you're also going to receive 2 bonus videos from Krista and I. These are like video diaries. We dive into our chart in a way that we haven't before, sharing like exclusive things we're doing right now, leaning into in this period in our life related to dating, marriage, motherhood, entrepreneurship, and so much more. And I just can't wait for you to receive this. So, your blueprint, you're going to receive the 2 bonus videos, all on your human design. And again, human design, it's weaving together the zodiac, Eastern philosophy, and complex NASA planetary data. It is wildly accurate. So go to humandesignblueprint.com/almost30. You're going to use the code almost30 for 10% off right now.
Yeah, it's like a nice little touch point. And this is, if you think of it like a triangle, it's like you have you two and then something you're kind of pouring into or resourcing from. So it's not you saying to him or to her, I want to talk about this. It's like not very directive towards them.
Yes.
So I want to talk about how we can
Love it.
da 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 da.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, I found this book. Like,
Love it.
I've heard it's really good. Do you
Yeah.
want to read it together? And then you can both bring what you're learning from
Yep.
it to the conversation rather than just traditionally like the female being like,
Yep.
so I learned today. I saw TikTok.
Yeah.
So annoying over
Yes.
time. But I just wanted to read. So the 80-80 model, and I just think this sums it up, is based on the idea that boring logistics of managing a house and the sublime experience of amazing sex are closely connected. So it's like how you handle those mundane, like you were saying, absolutely is by proxy affecting your intimate moments, like how you connect during sex. I mean, think about anytime maybe you've connected sexually with a partner later in the day, but earlier in the day,
Yeah.
they did something to piss you off. You had like a disconnection. There was no resolution. How did that like intimate connection feel? Was there a little resentment? Were you closed off? Was it just like, let me just do this to get it over with? So I think there's that importance there where we're talking about some logistical things, some managerial things of managing like your life, but it's like, it's so closely connected to the intimacy.
Yeah. I think because of movies or media programming, we think it's all just going to happen and work out, and we think it's all just natural. But I think a lot of the ways of being in relationship are not natural, especially the way our culture is set up where we're not community focused anymore. Relationships and marriage is not something that we've done throughout history.
Yeah.
It's something that's like more newer ever since, Christianity became the dominant religion. Sex at Dawn talks a lot about that. Sex at Dawn is such a good book to explore monogamy. But it is just like a new way of being. Also, too, we're home all the time. The relationship dynamics and the dynamics of humanity are changing. So it makes sense that we kind of need a reset on relationships. And the last thing that I'll say is that I do feel like we are entering a phase where we are hopefully creating templates for relationships that have never existed before. Most of us have not seen relationships with 2 sovereign people in their power, on their path, on purpose. Most of the time it's been codependency. Most of the time it's been some sort of abuse. Most of the time it's been people that are living inauthentically and outside of their truth. So to create these new templates, we need to create new ways of being and learn lots of new skills. And so a lot of us are learning and exploring a lot of these new skills for ways of being in healthy relationships.
Yeah, in real time. And I think that's why, we're hearing about so many people like breaking up with people where I think they realize whether there is potential or not potential in creating more of this type of dynamic where both are in it. It is a win-win. If you win, I win. Just if you're willing to write a new story, I think, it could be really successful.
So the book is called The 80-80 Marriage. It's by Nate Klemp and Kayleigh Klemp, and it is out now. It is about a new model for a happy, stronger relationship. I like that they did a lot of research with couples, and there's a lot of actionable tips and exercises in it as well, which is really good. So you can read it with your partner, you can read it with your friends, but I think it'd be really good to dig into and really just think about radical generosity and rethink the concept of a 50-50 relationship.
Yep. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you. Follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at Almost 30 Podcast. I'm at Lindsey Simsick.
And I'm at It's Krista, ITSKRISTA.
All right. We'll see you on the next one.
We'll see you soon.
Later.
Bye.